Hello again, Tactical YouTubers. Dub here. I'm going to do a review today on a knife I should have done about a week ago, but never got around to it, so what better time than the present, right? So, that knife is the CRKT McGinnis Tuition. I bought this knife in response to my What Should I Buy video, and Mumblin' Berk left me a comment and said, hey, I found a great deal on these, maybe you should check them out. So I checked them out and I bought one. So first off, let's talk about some specs. Y'all know how I hate specs, so some people like them, so let's get them out of the way. This is a 2.8 inch blade. I'm making the entire knife 6.63 inches overall, and it weighed in at 3.4 ounces. Now, something I've learned from going back and watching my other videos is size references are kind of hard because I have such small hands. You know, I can get 4 fingers on this knife fairly easy. Most people's not going to get but 3. So let me give you something to compare the size to. Here's your standard $1 bill. It is just a hair longer than a $1 bill. So that will give you some reference to size, because you can't really pay attention to my hands because I've got little bitty child hands. But anyway, so there's the specs. Got them out of the way. Let's start at the blade here. This is a 8CR14 MOV steel. It is a sheep's foot design. And as you can tell there at the edge, this blade has a swedge. And I don't know that I've seen too many sheep's foot design blades that have a swedge. I could be wrong, but it just kind of stood out to me. This is hollow ground, and in fact the grind starts quite high on the blade, almost a full hollow grind, so that's good. It's got a nice grind to it. Out of the box it wasn't that sharp, but I touched it up, got a nice edge on it, now it's quite sharp. It takes an edge pretty well, it just didn't come out of the box with a very good edge. Of course, CRKT isn't known for great edges anyway. But like I said, I sharpened it, and it sharpened up well. Now, in this review, I'm going to kind of take this into 2 parts. I want to tell you what I thought of the knife as I bought it, right out of the box, and what I think of the knife now after I've had some time to work on it and change some things. So, that was my first problem. It wasn't very sharp. I changed that. I fixed it. So, let's move on to the handles. As you can tell here, maybe, I don't know whether you can even tell on camera, it might not come in too well, but this is 2-layer micarta that is green and black. I think it's a very sexy micarta scale, and I think it looks really good. So I'm happy with the aesthetically. I think this knife is beautiful, and I think they might have went just a little too far with the aesthetics and not as far as with the functionality. But we'll talk about that a little later. Let's talk about the pivot area here. Of course, this is a flipper design, and you don't have thumb studs, so you have to open it with a flipper. I can't talk today. Which is kind of a problem that they don't have thumb studs, because if the knife opens up right there, you can't get it the rest of the way open, so you have to flick the wrist. I prefer to have both, but once again, aesthetically it looks nice. Functionally, it isn't very good. The flipper is very sharp out of the box. This little edge here, whenever I got it and I started fondling it the first day, this edge right here, if I can get it to focus properly, this edge right here was actually quite sharp, and after flipping it all day long, my finger was really sore. So I just took some sandpaper and sanded that edge off a little bit, fixed that problem. So right out of the box, that was a problem. After I worked on it, not a problem at all. So the great thing about that flipper is it comes around and makes a nice finger guard there, so you don't slip up onto the blade, which I really like. Some jimping here on the back of the spine of the blade isn't functional at all because it disappears into the scale. As you can tell there, you can't see most of it, so it's not very functional, but it looks nice. The lockup out of the box, there was quite a bit of left to right play, no up to down. Once again, I fixed that, no problem anymore. The opening was rather slow. It took when I got it out of the box, it took a lot of wrist to flick this thing open. But I took it apart, cleaned it up, real good, oiled it, and now, I mean, it isn't fast by any means, but it's, fast enough. I can do it without having to flick my wrist. So that's okay. So, few problems, minor problems, I was able to work them out without too much of a problem. So, the liners, you can tell here, they have this weird multicolor hue to them. They change colors depending on how the light catches them. Some people may like that. I do not. I think it makes the knife look cheap, in my opinion. It looks like something you'd buy at, the dollar store rather than a $30, $40 knife. But that's just my opinion. I just don't like how that looks. As you can tell here, it is a liner lock, which is my main problem with the knife. And I hate when knives do this. Once again, aesthetically it looks nice, but the functionality of it isn't very good because the liner lock is buried within the scale. It isn't sticking up any, so you've got to get down in there to disengage it. It's uncomfortable. It's kind of hard to disengage. I just don't like it. I don't like when they do that. You almost have to, sometimes it won't disengage at all, and I'll have to get my finger down in there to disengage it. So I do not like the liner lock. They should have left a little bit sticking up to give you some purchase to open it with. But whatever, that's just, once again, my opinion. Pocket clip, nice sturdy pocket clip, nice deep carry. It's only right side tip down. You can't take it anywhere else, which is a little bit depressing. But I guess it works. It seems to be a standard for some reason. I don't know why, but I don't know why every knife isn't at least tip up, but that's just, once again, my opinion. As you can tell here, it's got what I think is a Zytel backspacer. I could be wrong, but it feels like Zytel. So, all in all, it's not a bad knife. Out of the box, straight out of the box, I would have given this knife probably a D. After I've had some time to play with this knife, work with this knife, and straighten it out, I'd give it a strong C. I might move it up to a B- if it wasn't for this liner lock, because I think the knife is beautiful. Without thumb studs, jimping there on the back, this nice flipper, the micarta scales, it's a really nice looking knife with the exception of the liners for me. But it's a nice looking knife, so aesthetically it's great. Functionality isn't very good because you don't have thumb studs. The flipper isn't that great, all the same reasons. But if you're going for looks, it's really nice. It's got a nice strong point on it. It takes a nice edge. So, I carried it for quite a while and I had a lot of fun with it. But, it's definitely not one of my favorite knives, but for the price I got this knife for, I'm completely satisfied. I tend to go towards fondling knives I can sit around and play with. This isn't one of those knives. This is a knife you use, But this McGinnis, he's a fairly new knife designer. He's well on his way to coming up with some good stuff. They have another model called the Suma or something that he designed. CRKT does. It's nice looking. I like it. The flipper is more rounded, so it looks like it doesn't have a lot of the problems that this one does. So I'd be really interested in playing with that one. But anyway, guys, I think that's all I wanted to say about it. All the main points. Like always, if you have any questions, be sure to ask. I'm sure there's always something I forget in these videos because I, kind of rush through them, and I do them by memory only. I don't use notes or anything, so there's always something I forget, I'm sure. But if I do, ask me, and I'll be happy to answer for you. So anyway, guys. Till next time, y'all be careful out there. Arrivederci.